This week on EV Rider, we've got a road test of Cadillac's latest addition to its ever-growing portfolio of EVs. The all-new 2026 three-row Vistiq slots in between Cadillac's smaller Lyriq EV and its larger Escalade IQ EV. Since the Vistiq's primary mission is being a luxurious family hauler, let's start with a tour of the interior. The Vistiq has a sweeping 33-inch LED display and an optionally available augmented reality head-up display. As you would expect, the entertainment system is very nice with a 23-speaker AKG studio. But here's the thing, if you like FM radio, you're not going to get the full quality of that sound. Here's why. For whatever reason, even though this is a luxury car, Cadillac left out HD radio. Cadillac has taken some heat for not including Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, but it does have Android Automotive. What that means is it's got a version of the Google Play Store. So in reality, you can get most, if not all, of the apps that you're normally used to in your car, plus a few that you probably can't get right now, including the full Google Chrome web browser. The Vistiq's driver and passenger area is nice and practical. You will find a large storage area under here that has 2 wireless charging pads, but it's also big enough if you wanted to put a purse or something like that underneath. And of course, you have your traditional large storage unit in the center and cup holders. Cadillac's infotainment system is very logical because it does have Android Automotive. You'll see Google Assistant prominently displayed. And of course, you can go through the various apps that you've downloaded. So let's say, for example, you wanted to go ahead and visit EV Rider. You could just pull it right up on your web browser while you're charging. So you would be able to watch or read whatever road tests that you wanted to. It also has a nice split screen mode. The mapping, by the way, is beautiful. As you can see, it is very nice and wide. And you can also, by the way, see the full mapping in your dashboard display if you like as well. So it's really up to you as to how you customize this. Cadillac also includes a jog wheel, which allows you to go ahead and control your infotainment system without touching the display. As with most modern EVs, you can also go ahead and program how you're going to go ahead and charge the Vistiq at home. There's way too much in this infotainment system to go over in a short video like this, but what we'll do, we'll put a couple Cadillac instructional videos in the extended written road test story on the web at evrider.tv. Moving to the middle row, bench seats allow seating for up to 7, while ours had the optional heated captain's chairs. If you want to go ahead on a long trip and use your laptop or play a lot of battery-intensive games, the Vistiq has you covered. It's got a household outlet that puts out a good bit of power, and then you've got 2 USB-C outlets as well, and you've got a nice LED screen with left and right air conditioning controls for the second and third rows. Of course, one of the big selling points for the Vistiq is going to be the third row seating, and for kids, no problem whatsoever. Although for adults, as you can see, my knees are up kind of high. Let me give you a look at what it looks like when the middle row seat is in its fixed position the way I would have it. The third row is also practical. It includes a cup holder for each passenger, a USB-C, and an individual air conditioning or heating vent. At night, it's also possible to read a good old-fashioned book with a reading light. Also, a quick safety tip for your kids or whoever will be sitting back here. Make sure that they know when you put that seat back that their feet can get caught when this seat is retracted. You know, I really love how practical this is as a family hauler. And I'm not just talking about kids, I'm also talking about their gear. It starts with a nice, deep storage well. But let's say you want to go to Home Depot and just really fill this thing up. Look how easy it is. You go ahead and you have a set of buttons right here. If your load isn't that big, you can go ahead and lower just one or both of the third row seats. And if you really need to haul a lot, just go ahead and lower everything. Unlike a lot of EVs, one thing you won't find in the Vistiq is a front trunk. Once you're all packed up and actually out on the road, the ride quality is excellent. You know, one of the things about the EV revolution that constantly amazes me is how it's been a great equalizer. And what I mean by that is even a family hauler like this can have sports car-like performance. Here's what I mean. Let's go ahead and talk about handling for a moment. As you would expect, it's got that nice plush Cadillac ride when you're in touring mode, but it's also got a sports mode that firms up the suspension and the steering. And it's got what's called a velocity max mode here on the steering wheel. You hit that V button and it unlocks all 615 horsepower, which allows you to obtain a 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds. The fact that this is a 6-passenger, 3-row SUV and can still obtain those types of performance numbers and deliver the equivalent of more than 80 miles per gallon, that's pretty darn impressive. At DC fast chargers, Cadillac says the Vistiq can hit a peak charging speed of up to 190 kilowatts, which is good for adding up to 80 miles of range in 10 minutes. The Vistiq comes with 11.5 kilowatts of AC charging speed, and via an option you can up that to 19.2 kilowatts, meaning you can add nearly 47 miles of range at home in your garage in an hour. Another thing I appreciate about a lot of modern cars, including this Vistiq, is it's got a rear projection mirror. So I can either have a regular mirror or I can switch it over to the rear camera, which gives me a much wider field of view. The other nice thing about that is when I am carrying passengers, I won't have any heads blocking my view. I did get some good interstate time in with the Vistiq yesterday, and Super Cruise did not disappoint. We've had a rainy couple days here in Jacksonville, and I was out while it was raining pretty hard, and the Vistiq kept Super Cruise going. And the reason to me that's impressive, the older systems out there tended to give up as soon as the first raindrops hit. Whereas the Vistiq, I'm sure there is a point where it gives up, but even in a heavy rain where some people were running their hazards, the Vistiq kept Super Cruise going. And Super Cruise, by the way, has gotten to the point that it truly is a hands-free system. You set your speed and it will try to maintain that speed as best it can based on the flow of traffic, and that includes automatic lane changes. So if the Vistiq finds itself with an opening because the car in front is going slower than the speed you set, it'll go ahead and go around using its turn signals and get you right back in your original lane once it's past the vehicle. There's not much I can criticize about the Vistiq. I do wish it had the Escalade's full-length LED digital display, but then again, that is a much more expensive vehicle, and the display that you do get in the Vistiq is certainly a very nice experience. For big families out there, the Vistiq is definitely worth your consideration. The Vistiq is facing an increasingly crowded EV market with 3-row alternatives like the Rivian R1S, Mercedes-Benz EQS, and Hyundai Ioniq 9. You do have vehicles like the ID Buzz from Volkswagen, but that's a pure minivan. Of course, you've got Cadillac's own Escalade, but that's a much more expensive and larger vehicle than this one. So for some families, it might just go ahead and hit that sweet spot. I think another thing that's going to surprise a lot of people is how tight the turning circle is in the Vistiq, given this is a 3-row vehicle. So I'm going to go ahead and take a very tight turn. And I am in the passing lane, not even the passenger lane. So again, very impressive how tight the turning circle is on a vehicle this big. For those of you that want to do a deeper dive on the Vistiq, be sure to head over to evrider.tv on the web. You'll find all the specs there, along with an extensive written road test from EV Rider contributor Dan Scanlon. And if you enjoyed this episode of EV Rider on YouTube, please go ahead and give this video a like, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.